when you watch Douglas Adams adaptations, you'll notice that they go one of two ways, right? They either compromise tone, and they sort of just do what happens in the books, or they try to mimic tone. So the previous Dirk Gently series compromised tone, took away all the supernatural and science fiction elements from Dirk Gently. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie, the Most Def one, mimicked tone and ended up not feeling sort of like a complete movie. They're both interesting pieces. I like them both, but at the end of the day, what we decided to try to do differently, what we are attempting to do, succeed or fail, is to perfectly mimic tone and throw the details out the window. We want it to feel like a Douglas Adams TV show.
I mean, at the end of the day, it is a TV show. You know, it's not a book. You are somewhat limited by what the camera can actually point at. And obviously, television shows don't have unlimited budgets. You know, it's not a $150 million feature. So,
oh God, can you imagine?
Yeah. So, you know, we do have to. I mean, and I think in some ways it makes the show better to have those limitations, because you do have to have your characters live in a somewhat more grounded world. You have to have, you know, scenes in apartments, even though those scenes in the apartments are filled with all kinds of odd, weird gags. But the thing about, you know, any science fiction type of show, adapting that is, what does it look like? What are those elements that make it different? We always, you know, on Stargate, we always called it the doorknob effect. You know, like, what does the doorknob look like? Do these people have doorknobs? I mean, we didn't have that problem so much, but as the weirder elements start to invade our normal world in Dirk Gently, it became about having those conversations. What in the world does the time machine look like? What does the...
Spoiler! Already spoilers!
I got my headline.
God,
He
this
says,
is IGN.
sorry, what does the I'm machine...
What is the I'm machine?
Oh, okay. It's the pet food. IAMS, okay.
Yeah, it is the first season of Dirk Gently revolves around a pet food crisis.
So when you guys talk about tone, maybe just for people who aren't familiar with the books, what kind of tone are we talking about?
All heart. All heart. It's giving characters room to play. It's silliness without goofiness.
It's a thriller that's funny without, you know, being overly comedic to the point where you lose the sense of jeopardy for the characters.
If there was a version of screwball comedy, I'd say it's a screwball comedy if that still existed.
It still has stakes. This still has real stakes.
It's I'd say it's silliness without wackiness.
It's funny that you mentioned the doorknob effect, because I remember on Star Trek The Next Generation, it was like the 5th season or something, they went back to Earth, and suddenly they had doors that opened the regular way, and I remember as a fan being like, what? Wait, what? So like, that kind of little detail can really take the audience out of it, right? Have you encountered anything like that in production of this first season that maybe you've had to step back and say, whoa?
Well, I mean, yeah, there's been tons of things, actually. One of them is the performance of animals.
Oh my God.
I mean, so many. I mean, that's kind of what I'm talking about. Is that when you write on paper, it's like, oh yeah, the dog does this. Well, get a real dog to do that. It's not always easy.
Have you ever seen the old Looney Tunes cartoon with Michigan J. Frog, where the guy finds the frog and it goes, "Hello, my baby," and dances, and then whenever he shows it to someone, it doesn't do that? Okay, so we had a dog on set that before the cameras would roll, we'd go, okay, he needs to bark 3 times and go in a circle. It'd be like, okay, and the dog would go, ruff, ruff, ruff. Then we go, okay, perfect, action. The dog would be like, and then the owner would be right off camera going, come on, woof, woof, and then we go like this, cut, woof, woof. Like, it was a nightmare.
Or, you know, we would have particular props or weapons that were abnormal or unusual, and it would be like, okay, we needed to do this, and this. And it's like, yeah, none of those things are possible in the physical world. How do we do that?
I didn't write unambitious. I wrote the $150 million version, and we did it for $15.